Hello, friends. How are you all doing? Apologies for that slightly, let's say, hesitant start to things and a slightly broken situation right now. TLDR is when that wonderful timer said there was about 40 seconds left, my Mac decided to do the most sensible and most useful thing possible and crash, which is exactly what we want to have happen. You know, who doesn't want things to crash? I'm presuming you can hear me, but I have absolutely no evidence you can. So if you can, it would be wonderful if you could give me a thumbs up in chat, because, you know, who knows if this is working? Who knows if anything is working? And I feel like that's potentially going to be the theme of today's stream. But let me know if you can hear me. Give me some kind of emoji in chat. Adam says we can hear. Evidently we can hear. This is what I want to hear. So, we have no music, evidently, because everything's died, but that's fine. Welcome to MLH's March Challenges. I'm Jacqueline from Major League Hacking, and I'm here to spend the next hour or two, probably more like 2, let's be honest, trying to make things work. Today we're going to be building a MELONS versus DINOS website. It's going to be amazing. You know, just as amazing as my laptop is when it crashes, which means you don't get any audio. Hello, Swift. But that's how it be sometimes. Sometimes things just go a bit wrong. But before we kick off, before we get into coding, there's a couple of things I need you to do first. And they, most importantly, are check in and get registered for March Challenges. I'm also going to show you something called Local Hack Day. It's going to have stuff similar to these challenges, but even more. So if you haven't already heard about it, listen up over the next 2 minutes while I tell you everything that you're going to need to know. Okay, at the bottom of my screen, there's a ton of different links, but the most important one I want you to go to first is hackp.ac/March Challenges. I'm going to show you all the way, including from signing in. So hackp.ac/March Challenges. It's at the bottom of my screen right now. It's going to take you to a page that looks something vaguely like this, except wait, I'm not screen sharing. I love it when things crash right before, friends, don't you? Such a smooth start to the stream. You know, timer hits 0, screen isn't shared anymore. Let me hit screen share for all of you. Here we go. You know, sometimes it just be like that. You know, sometimes you have one of those days. It's not even the right screen I just tried to share. There we go. What a great start to today's stream. So yeah, if I press this button, there we go. So this is the March Challenges link. It's at the bottom of your stream right now. I want you to head over there. You'll see this big blue button which says log in or register. If you're in the MLH Discord, you've ever attended one of the first party hackathons we run or anything like that, you probably already have an MLH account, including if you've attended Local Hack Day. But if you don't, at the bottom, you know, sorry if you do, just click this little sign in now button at the bottom. If you don't, just fill in this form. It's just to give you all the things we're going to need. Someone's asking me to put the link in Twitch chat as well. Of course I can do that for you. No problem whatsoever. Let's put it in chat for you. And yeah, sorry if the audio quality is not great today, guys. TLDR is that there's normally like a filter put over it, but then when my Mac crashed, it removed the filter, which is what we want, isn't it? So here you go, March Challenges. The link is in Twitch chat right now. You know, if you already have an account, go sign in. You know, I actually occasionally remember my password. And when you are signed in, it's going to take you back to this page, and now you should see a register and check in button. If you've been to any of March Challenges, you'll already be checked in and registered, on this link. But, you know, if you have not been to one, this is your first one, welcome. It is great to see you. And you can see a list of all the challenges coming up just below here. You know, there's a massive list of them. There's been one every single day, and there's going to be a ton more at Local Hack Day. Now, when you've done that, there's a second link I need you to go and check into. And that is hackp.ac/melons versus dinos. And that is also going in Twitch chat right now, and it's going to be at the bottom of my screen for the entire stream. So let's go and head over there right now. And it's going to look fairly similar, except you're going to see melons versus dinos for a rematch. If you weren't here for round 1 during Local Hack Day last time, there was some chaos with melons and dinos. And so, as soon as you're here, hit register and check in, and you are ready to go. If you're looking for these links, they're also in the March Challenges channel on Discord. And, you know, if you've already checked in, well done. At the end of the stream, we'll be showing you how to submit to dev post, because that's the best way of showing off everything you've made. While I do have your attention, though, lhd.mlh.io is really a link you should check out. It's got Local Hack Days info, and that is an amazing event coming up next week. Well, the very end of next week. It's running from March 28th through April 5th, and it's local hack day share. It's a great week of learning, building, and sharing. You're going to have technical streams like this. You're going to have amazing mini events where you can meet a load of cool MLHs, and you can join a guild to go and meet a load more community members. You know, I'm the guild leader of Blahaj Gang, so I'm slightly biased. It's my favorite guild. But you know, we've got tons of awesome girls, including Eddie Herb, EST Techies, which is a really cool one, and tons more. And so, you know, check it out. Go register. The link is in Twitch chat right now. And honestly, Local Hack Day is so, so fun. Look how much is coming up, and I'm sure this isn't even going to be all of it. So keep an eye out for that. Okay, that's all the admin stuff out the way. Let's jump in to actually doing some awesome things. What are we doing? What is coming up today? Well, today we're going to be diving into something called NextJS. NextJS is a React framework. It's, you know, a little bit like you've got your React as your base, and your NextJS just adds some nice fancy things to make your life a bit easier. It has like a built-in router, so it's easier to kind of do like / whatever. And it has just some quality of life features. It also makes it a lot easier to optimize images and just various other things. You're gonna love it. If you've never built with React before, some of this might seem a little bit scary. I mean, ask where Blahaj is, he'll be here in a minute, don't worry, he's just gonna get lunch. And if you are having oh my God, I've never ever used React before, don't let that worry you, okay? This isn't necessarily a workshop where I'm saying follow along live. What I'm saying is, use this as a chance to get a look at the technology we're using, to have a quick dive into things and get your feet wet. And then after a stream, this video is going to be available on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook even as well. And so you can go and get caught up on there. So don't feel pressure that you have to follow along live in real time. You're welcome to try, but bear in mind, there's no guarantees you'll be able to keep up. But hey, you're welcome to ask questions in Twitch chat at any time right now. I can see all of Twitch chat, YouTube chat, and Facebook chat, so if you do have questions, feel free to throw them in there. Now, we are developing using Next.js today. It's by Vercel, which is a really easy way to deploy things. I'm going to try and get something deployed today. And we're going to be using VS Code as our code editor. Now, just a couple of prerequisites. You're going to need to have NPM installed. If you've got Node.js set up on your laptop or your computer or your desktop or your phone or your fridge or whatever, you're probably ready to go. If you don't have it set up, I'm not going to kind of dive into the exacts of how to install Node.js, but if you just have a quick Google, you shouldn't have too many difficulties. And Next.js has a really useful kind of tutorial if you are totally new. I'm not the most kind of, skilled Next.js developer ever. I'm really not. I did a university project with it, but what I do have is the basics down pretty well. And we're going to use a very basic starter. We're not even going to use this one. We're just going to use the most basic of basic Next.js starter kits. And the reason for doing that is I want to show you how to actually run one from scratch. Okay, there's a lot of blurb. That's all the blurb out of the way. I'm going to open my terminal. Now my terminal might look a little bit different to yours. I use iTerm. I've got some fancy stuff on top of it. Don't worry if it looks different. As long as you've got the requirements installed, you can be able to follow along live. If not, it doesn't matter. I am currently here. I'm going to go into my repos folder and I'm going to go and create a Next app. And, I'm going to do this in a folder. So to create a folder, I can do mkdir and I'm going to call it... Actually, no, I'm going to do it in a slightly different way. I'm going to go on GitHub first because I want to be able to share my code with you after this. And I'm going to go and make a Git repo. If you've never done this before, GitHub is awesome. If you go to hackp.ac/GitHub, you can get the GitHub Student Developer Pack, which has tons of extra resources. Today, we're just going to be using the very basic stuff on GitHub, though. So I'm going to make a repo called MELONS versus DINOS. I'm going to make it public. I'm going to add a README file, and then I'm just going to go and create a repository. And Krish is saying, hey, Blahaj is overrated. Excuse me, while that repo finishes creating, I'm going to go and get my friend, and he's going to show you he's not. Does this look overrated? A 1 meter long shark from IKEA. That is the least overrated thing ever. And Krish, he's going to sit in the background, and he's just going to stare longingly at you for the rest of this stream. That's just how it's going to be today. If he's going to be sad, he's going to be sad in front of you all. Awesome, so we've got this repo ready to made. So we've got this repo ready. Now I use Git Kraken. You can just use Git on command line if you are following along literally in real time. The nice thing about Gitkraken is it gives you a very nice UI to be doing things. I can use Git on a console, but many people are like, you've got to use command line Git. It's the only way of doing things. And I actually really disagree with that. If you're more comfortable using a GUI, there is no harm in doing that. So on my second monitor, it's just starting up. As soon as it's started up, I'm going to drag it over. And we're literally going to go from nothing to having a very basic kind of web app here today. So here we go. I've got a Blahaj Gang website open right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and clone from github.com. And I'm going to go and clone this MELONS versus DINOS website I just created. So there we go. That was pretty simple. And I'm going to open this. And this is going to have all these things. And right now, there's just an initial commit. There's just where we made the things. Blahaj, initial commit. We want more than that, don't we? We want an entire website. And so now, if I go into my repos folder on my command line, and I do ls, you should see not let's all run, that's a different one. MELONS versus DINOS. So I'm going to go into MELONS versus DINOS, and I'm going to follow this guide to go and get ourselves a very basic next app. So I can do npx create next app. And what this is going to do is it's literally going to do the most basic. I think if I do dot for what my project is called, yes, if I do dot, it will make it. I will need to remove that README file though. I did forget there's a slightly weird thing about the way this works. You have to have an entirely empty one because it will override. It can't override. So you do have to make sure it's empty. So now if I do this and I do dot, cool. And you're going to see here, this script over here is what's building all of these different things. And so it's giving us everything we need. And it's saying, hey, everything is available. And I probably should update that to a new one, but whatever. And then, hey, it's saying I can run npm run dev to start the development server. So let's have a go at that. Let's do npm run dev. And let's see what happens. Well, I'm presuming you can see this, but it says start a server on localhost 3000. So if I now go to localhost 3000 in my browser, we can see a very simple website which says welcome to NextJS. And we're going to replace this with a fully fledged, incredibly beautiful MELONS versus DINOS website. In fact, it's going to be a little bit of a web app. I don't know how far we'll get. I'd like to add a little bit of interactivity today, but we're going to try. But before I actually get developing the website itself and designing things, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set it up on Vercel to be deployed. And so what we're going to do at the end of this workshop is we're actually going to deploy it onto the internet. Adam's saying his is not working. Adam, what's going wrong? Why is things not working for you? What error did you get? And I will try and troubleshoot. But what I'm going to do while you're doing that is head over to Vercel.com, and I'm just going to log in with GitHub. If you've not heard of Vercel, it is a very, very simple kind of deployment platform. It can only do like front end. It's got very, very limited functionality for back end. Adam was having problems, but he just needed to CD into a folder. So this is going to be a very much front end focused, but what I can do is I can press new project. I can say I would like to, using my GitHub account, and I would like to use MELONS versus DINOS, and I'm going to import this into here. And, I'm actually going to do it onto my personal account. So what we're doing is just saying, hey, any code in this GitHub repo, I want to be deployed. But hang on, there isn't any code in this GitHub repo. Because, remember, if we're doing stuff locally to get it onto GitHub, the way we do it is we do a commit. So I'm just going to say initial NextJS app, and then we go and stage the changes, we commit them, and then we push them up to GitHub. Pushing is like uploading, pulling is like downloading. And so now if I take this back a step and I now try and do it, I'm going to import it to myself. It should detect, here we go, some pages and all the things it needs to say, hey, this is actually a Next.js app. I know how to run this. So I'm going to call my project MELONS versus DINOS. That's fine. And I can say, hey, it is a Next.js app. And it's just a root directory. I'm going to leave all of these basic things like on default. It should be able to work everything out it needs. If we need to put environment variables or anything here, we could do, but we don't for this. I'm just going to hit deploy. And hopefully this is in this, we've only been live for less than 20 minutes. And we should have a website deployed online that we can start editing. So what it's going to do is it's going to try and build it. Obviously, this should work without any issues. Hopefully, that warning text is not particularly reassuring, but it should build without any issues because it is literally just the default one. And so when this default one is deployed, the really cool thing is that Vercel is going to watch our repo, and anytime we deploy a change, so anytime we upload a change to GitHub, it's going to automatically deploy from GitHub to Vercel, which is really cool. It means you don't have to worry about doing anything. Like, I remember back when I was starting programming, and you have to like FTP and copy your files over, and it was just a pain. We don't have to do that. This is going to handle everything automatically. Hey, my project has been successfully deployed, which is awesome. So if I visit it, melons versus dinos.vercel.app, offer in chat. You could totally use a custom domain as well. But you know, this very basic starter site is now online. Wonderful. Okay, so now we've done the very basics. We've got a website live, which we can push changes up to, and it will go live as we do it. Let's get starting on developing our Melons versus Dinos website. You know, I'm going to be photoshopping things. I'm going to be laying things out. It's going to be beautiful. And, you know, this is going to be a fairly simplistic website, considering I only have 2 hours on stream. But hey, so in VS Code, I'm going to go and do File. I'm going to do Add Folder to Workspace. And I'm going to go and add this folder. So I'm going to go Repos, and then Melons versus Dinos. And so all of these are just going to be the files that were auto-created. But to get you familiar with NextJS real quick, what did I do? I just deployed it, Adam. That's all I did. I didn't do anything particularly fancy. Why is this not working? Interesting. Seemingly it ignored me when I do that. So let's try again. Add folder to workspace. And then Melons versus Dinos. Add. What is going on? Ah, interesting. That's why. It's all the way down here. So you can see this folder structure. This might be a little bit small, so let me zoom in for you. So there's this .next folder. You don't need to go in there. And there's also a node modules folder. We shouldn't go in here either. This is where any kind of JavaScript modules we install go into. We shouldn't be committing this to GitHub. The default git ignore file should mean that anything in here will not get deployed to GitHub. But, you know, just make sure it isn't getting deployed. We've got pages. This is where we create our pages. This is what's powering our homepage right now. We'll get more into how to make more pages in just a second. Public is just your assets, so your images and all of that kind of stuff. Styles is where you set your CSS, and so you can go and create some CSS files in here. Now, NextJS handles CSS a little bit differently to what you've seen before, so listen up, I'll be getting to that in a minute. And then we've got a package lock JSON, you know, that's just kind of some dependencies and stuff. And the README, which is conveniently some instructions. If we were doing this as a real app, then we obviously should be putting instructions specific to us. But you know, if you're following along, well done to you. Adam's already managed to get his live, which is pretty awesome. So, let me show you how this works. I've got my index.js file, and if you know what an index file is, it's where you go if you go to whatever.com and you don't put like / something. And so if I edit this, for example, it says get started by editing. Well, I can say instead, Blahaj is amazing, and then save. It will actually update in real time. I don't need to refresh or anything, so it makes development way quicker. And if I want to add an extra page, what I can do is I can do new file, and I can do, for example, blahaj.js, and I'll just copy paste all of this code in just to kind of show you what I'm doing. And I'm just going to replace everything in here, but I can anyway, easily, with, what have I done wrong there? I've done something wrong. I actually got rid of /main, that's what I did. We'll prettify this in a second, but instead of this, I'm going to say hello world. And if I save this, this will automatically set up a route. So I can do localhost 3000 /blahaj, and it'll say, you know, hello world, this is the folder. And so TLDR is anything in your pages, you can do /that thing without the .js, and it will automatically take you there. It's like magic. We don't have to set up routes. We don't have to set up any of that like you do with normal React. But, you know, Next.js is still powered by React, and so we can use all the cool stuff with React. So I'm going to use Bootstrap, but actually there is a library called React Bootstrap, which is going to get us up and going much quicker than if we're having to use it all by ourselves. So I'm going to go into my terminal, going to go back into item. And I'm going to do, let me just open a new tab, and I'm going to go back into, oops, no, wrong one, cd repos / melons versus dinos. Cool. And I'm going to do npm install React Bootstrap. And while it's doing that, let me just show you what this is. So if I Google React Bootstrap, Bootstrap is a really nice kind of library to do easier CSS. It's what Twitter made, it's what Twitter runs off, and we can use it in all of our projects too. I personally really like it. Some people don't. It definitely has a learning curve, but I find it really speeds things up for me. And so I really like that. And, we can see all of these things, this is how we get started. I'm going to throw this in Twitch chat for you now, if you are interested in learning just a little bit more. But here we go. And, I can install this and I can use all of these different things. Now, there is a little bit of setup I have to do with React Bootstrap before we jump into things. And there's a little bit of setup we're going to have to do before we can actually build our app. So first up, I'm going to get rid of this blahage.js file. It was a nice way of demoing. Sorry, blahage, but not right now. And I'm going to leave this app.js because we'll get to that in a minute. But this index.js, I'm just going to strip back to be really basic. And I'm literally just going to have it say test. And so, it's a very basic site we have right now. I'm also going to go and clear out everything in home.module.css. And I'm going to go and, is that all I need to do? Oh yeah, I'm going to get rid of this class name on this div. So it literally is going to give us a blank canvas where it just says test in the top corner. Really nothing fancy whatsoever because it gives us a blank canvas to build on. Okay, there's a little bit of stuff we need to do as well. And that is React Bootstrap doesn't have CSS included by default. And so we need to import that in the _app.js file, I believe. And that just means that Bootstrap CSS will be available across our app. Interesting that it can't resolve that. Probably because I need to go up a level, I'm guessing. No? Interesting. What have I done wrong? Do I need to go into node modules as well? I'm never sure how to do this. Interesting. Okay. I actually am going to pull that from a CDN, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, Bootstrap CDN. And a CDN is a content delivery network. All it is a nice, easy way of kind of getting the CSS things and the JavaScript, so you don't have to host it yourself. And I'm just going to go and copy this HTML. And I'm going to, I'm relatively sure I can just throw it in here. But if not, I'm going to get a nice big error and it's going to tell me what I did wrong. But let's find out. Oh, I'm being really dumb. It's not those brackets, it's these brackets. Cool. So I'm fairly sure in NextJS it goes in your _app.js file. But I'm actually not completely sure. And because we're using JSX, this looks like HTML, but it's actually not. We've got to use fragments so that everything is contained within a single container or a single parent, which is what those little kind of brackets which don't actually have anything inside are. Adam is asking for the link to Bootstrap CDN. It's bootstrapcdn.com. You can Google it, but I'll also throw it in chat for you. So I'm fairly sure of this now. If I give it a refresh, it's not giving me an error. I am pretty sure we now should have access to Bootstrap's stuff. And a really easy way of testing this is let's go on to components. Let's try using an alert. So I can do alert variant equals and then the variant. Okay, so let's have a go. So on my homepage, I'm going to do alert with capital A because it's a component. It's definitely picked up why we have it installed since I can click here and it will automatically import it. I'm going to say the alert variant is equal to, and I want it to be a primary alert just because that's a really easy one to tell. And then inside I'm going to put some text. I'm going to say hello. If I hit refresh and this worked, boom, boom, it's formatted it. That means our CSS is definitely working. Adam's asking me to show app.js again. Here you go. Literally all I did was add normal brackets or parentheses if you're American, after return and at the end here. I then added these fragments, which are just kind of little, they're like the tags, except we don't actually have anything in them. is just because in, basically this gets transpiled into JavaScript. Sorry, yes, into JavaScript. It's not real HTML. It gets kind of converted when we build this. And so there needs to be, like, feel free to Google more on this, but there has to be like one parent that can then contain things. So that's why we have these. Cool. We are now finally ready to actually build it. So you can get rid of this alert. This is just a way of testing our CSS was set up properly. And the main reason I like having Bootstrap installed is it lets us use all of Bootstrap's classes. And one of the really good ones that I have is these wonderful column classes. We've got rows, containers, and columns. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give ourselves, well, I need to lay this out. So actually, let me do jspaint.com. Is it .com or is it .net? It's jspaint.net, I think. Nope. JSPaint, what is it? JSpaint.app, there we go. So let me just bring this up so I can kind of show you my plan. What I'm thinking is, this is going to be a pain, but I'm like, if this is our website, we're going to have a nice header. It's going to be like melons. This is dinos. And it's going to have like some pictures. So like, and like, this is like the worst dinosaur in the world, but like whatever, you get the idea. Close enough. So it's going to have a beautiful header. And inside this, you know, there's going to be basically effectively like a grid in here. So it's going to be indented a bit. There's not actually going to be kind of anything making it like look like it's in a box, but we're going to indent it just to make it look a bit nicer. And then we're going to have like a melon section, and then some like melon stuff, and then a dino section, and then some dino stuff. And then from then, you know, depending on how we're doing for time, we can start adding some interactivity. We can do all of that. But, you know, I just wanted to kind of lay something out. And so this shouldn't take too long. Let's give it a go. So I want to go and say, you know, I've got my div, and everything's actually going to be contained, not in a div, but inside some fragments, just because that's absolutely fine. Adam, if you're getting alert not defined when you try to use alert, make sure you are importing it. You can't just press tab or space. You've got to actually click this and it will import it at the top. Otherwise, if you are having problems and you have installed React Bootstrap, like I told you to, you can just copy paste what I'm putting in chat for you right now. But we're not actually going to need an alert. Instead, we're going to go and build this out. So I'm going to do a header, which is just CSS, well, HTML. And we're going to just put melons versus dinos in here in a H1. We'll come back and style it all in a bit. And then underneath that, I'm going to go and put my, I guess it's kind of an article. It's about as close as we're going to get. And inside that, I'm going to do a container, which is a Bootstrap class. And we can do this. We do a capital because it's a Bootstrap class. It's a something we're pulling in from JavaScript. And then we're going to close that. And inside here goes stuff. Oh, Malak's here. How are you doing? How is life? I hope life is good. And so now if I save this, hopefully this is going to have the layout I'm hoping for. Amazing. It doesn't look like much yet, but fear not, we're going to fix this in just a second. So I'm going to do my header is going to have a class. We're going to do class name, just because that's how it works. Class name of. And then because we're importing our home CSS as styles, we're going to do styles.header. And then now I can go into my home.module.css folder, and I can do .header. And then I can go and set this. I mean, for example, say my background color is going to be something. Let's go on to flatUIcolors.com. How am I doing? I'm doing great. Malak, you're doing great. That's good. That's what I want to hear. And let's get a very mellow and dino-y color. You know, I'm actually thinking, because there's so many cool APAC people in Blahaj Gang, we're going to go for the Indian color palette today. And I'm thinking we do some nice clear, chill blue. And so I'm going to say, hey, my background color can be this. It's going to have a text line in the center. So it means basically center my text in this. I'm just kind of building out this right now. I think my text color is going to be white. Oh no, not text color, sorry, just color. It's going to be white. My font size can be, let's say, 2EM. How does that look? If I save that and then save this, it should update. There we go. Well, this still isn't looking great. I need to go and, you know, do a little bit more optimization here. I keep losing my mouse when I go between screens. I'm like, not quite sure how it's set up, but that's fine. And I'm going to go and add some padding. So I'm going to do padding 2em, 1em, I think should work. Cool. And actually I want that font to be a bit bigger. I'm going to say it's going to be 4 EMs. We can come back and, ooh, whoops. Interesting. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. So I need to set the font size actually inside the header H1. And there we go. In here we can do font size 2em. Or even, let's do 4em. Let's do 4. Nice and big. There we go. EM is a relative kind of measurement. And so rather than in pixels, where it's like 12 pixels is always 12 pixels, M's are kind of like saying, like 1em is like the width of one character, if it was a full width character, but it's relative. So if your text is bigger, your M is bigger. And it's just a way of being able to make much more responsive layouts, not having to worry about as much as like, you know, creating responsive stuff by doing like media queries and stuff. It means you can actually just dive straight into things. And then I do want to do font weight bold here as well, because, you know, it deserves it. That's what we got for now. And then I actually, for my header, I want this to be a margin on the bottom so this isn't touching. So I'm going to do margin bottom of 2em. Awesome. That looks good to me. And actually, I'm thinking I will do a box. So I'm going to say, I'm going to do container class name equals styles.content. And I'm going to say .content is going to have, it's going to be white. Background color is going to be white, at least for now. Because what I'm going to do is set my actual, the HTML's background. So I've got this like globals.css where I can set things. And I'm going to set HTML and body to have a background color. And I'm going to do like a very, very, very kind of light blue. So let's go into here. Let's go to hex color tool, which is the best, most useful thing ever. Hexcolortool.com. Can paste in my color code. I can hit lighten. And you'll see here, I can probably just paste the lightest. I think it might work. Let's go. Let's do background color can be equal to this. And so it'll give us like a really cool, nice little effect, I think. Or it might not. It might look terrible. We'll find out pretty quick. Interesting. Wonder why that's doing that. That shouldn't do that, I don't think. Maybe it should. Let me have a look real quick. I set the background color of home to red instead. What's going on here? So the reason I am confused is because this HTML and background should all kind of contain everything, and it's not. I'm not quite sure why, so I'm going to dive into that in a second. Adam's asked me to read the hex code. I'm not going to do that. You can go onto flightUIcolors.com and get them all. There's no point in me reading out the entire thing. You can choose your own colors. It's way more fun that way. And the difference between a EM and a VW, well, VW is like 100 VW is the full width of your screen or of a window if it's not full screen. Whereas an M is a width of a character. So 1M is one thing, whereas 1 VW is 1% of the width of your screen. They're subtly different there. And what's going wrong here? So let's go and do inspect. What is happening with my code? I am very, very confused. I'm getting this. So I'm turning stuff red here, but what is going on here? Like, am I inside a body? So this is inside body, so this should work. Interesting. So it's looking like there's a div with next, and that is kind of overriding body potentially. So what if I say, move this into its own thing, and we say HTML body and also a div with an ID of underscore next, which it might like, it might not, we'll find out. Cool. There we go, that's fixed that problem. Kind of messy, but hey, it does the job. And so now we have this, and we can start designing it properly. And I'm going to go back to setting this to white again now, and I'm going to give it a nice little border. Very, very simple border. I'm actually just going to use probably this one, because we're just going to do like shades of the same color, I think, just to make things easy. And we're going to go and say the border is going to be 1px solid and this color. Oh, use a hash. That's not the best ever, but it does the job. We can do a box shadow. Let's do CSS box shadow. And we'll just go and grab a nice simple one. Actually, if you go on Google CSS card, W Free Schools has like a really nice drop shadow you can steal for that. And I think this is the one I normally steal. Let's have a look. Yes. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. We can, mess around with all these values, see what works best for us, but that's what I'm going for here. And then I'm going to go and inside .content, I'm going to go and add some padding. So I'm going to say, actually, am I? Yes, I'm going to add some padding, but it might break things. I might need to come back to go and fix it in a bit. So we're going to do padding of 1. How does that look? That does the job, but actually probably 2 is going to look nice. Let's go 1. And so there we go. We've got like a nice box we can now put things inside. And how did you fix the HTML body _next? Mine didn't do anything. I did it inside globals.css and I used this little line. It's __ next, not just _next. That's the fix. If you look in inspect element, you can kind of see what's going on. There's basically a div which pushes everything down and has some weird CSS applied to it somewhere in Next.js. And rather than diving into things, we're just going to kind of do a little hacky fix, just like you do at a hackathon. I wouldn't necessarily do this, if I was developing for real. I'd be like, what's going on here? But it's a nice quick fix. Okay, so let's now lay out everything. And if you're like, hey, React Next.js has components that you can split things into, don't worry, just as Blahaj is an important component of my life, we're going to go and add some more components to this app in a bit. For now, I'm just getting the basic layout kind of done. We'll dive into actually splitting it all up in a bit. So here goes stuff. I'm going to say H2. I'm going to say melons. And I'm going to do like ... So stuff's going to do there. I'll do H2 dinos. And we'll do ... and stuff is going to go here. But actually, I think we can one-up this. I think, let's do them in columns. We'll have melons as one column and dinos as the other column. And what we can do to do that is we can use, believe it or not, a row and a column, which is part of React Bootstrap. So we can say row with a capital R, and we've got this option, so we click it. So this is a row. It contains our columns. Your columns must add up to 12, or a multiple of 12 is the key important thing. Now I want this to be fairly responsive, so I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. So I'm going to say, hey, I want to do a column or col, which on phone screens, so on really small screens, extra small screens, XS, is equal to 12 wide. And on anything like decently sized, so on medium or higher screens, I'm going to say I want it to be 6 wide. So it'll be like half on big screens and the entire thing on small screens. And inside that, I'm going to say this is melons in a H2. And then I'm going to go copy that, and this is going to be dinos. So when I save this, you'll see we've got these 2 columns. But then if this gets small, it will automatically stack them on top of each other, which is pretty awesome and makes our life nice and easy. Isn't that wonderful? That's what we want. Makes our life easy. But I think we can do better than this. Let's open Photoshop. Let's do some cool graphics. Because, this is nice, but this is a bit boring looking. And so, if we're going to do things, we're going to do fun things, we're going to do actual fun things. So let me pull up a Photoshop canvas real quick. And we can get started on this. Cool. Here is a beautiful Photoshop canvas. Let's go and create some very, very, very quickly done graphics. First thing I want to get is some melons. So let's go on pexels.com is what I tend to use. Unsplash actually is another good one. Let's go on there today. And let's get some melon photos. And I'm thinking this is some pretty good melons. But there's lots of different melons. And, oh, well, this melon has a crown, which is kind of awesome. We could do this one. Let's do this one. Let's do this one and zoom it in. And so this could be melons. And I'm going to have like a nice, like kind of silly cover image for them all. This is a terrible canvas size for that. I'm going to go and crop it right down to be something more like this, which is probably a better aspect ratio. And I'm going to go and choose a color. Now, obviously, if you were designing a fully accessible site, you wouldn't want to be putting text into this. In fact, do I have time to not do it? Not really, but I probably shouldn't. So yeah, I'm going to go and get this, and I'm going to save this as one of our images. So let's do it properly. So we're going to do save as. In fact, no, we're not. We're going to do export as PNG. So I'm just going to crop these down, and we'll put these things. And I'm going to do repos. I'm going to do MELONS vs. DINOS. And I'm trying to think the best way I want to do this. There's a couple of ways of doing things, and there's a couple of gotchas inside Next.js I want to avoid. For now, I'm just going to go and do melon.png inside public. I'm trying to remember, can I then access that as easily as I think I can? Can I just do /melon.png? I can. Amazing. This is what I want to hear. And so I also need a DINOS picture. So let's head back on to Pexels or whatever I'm using today. Here we go. I'm actually on Unsplash today. Let's get a dinosaur photo as well we can use. Now the cool thing about Pexels and Unsplash and stuff, that you can actually use these in things and it's totally allowed. These are like licensed pictures. What am I thinking? I'm thinking dinosaurs are long dead. They're kind of ancient. So let's grab this. And let's throw this into Photoshop and crop it down as well to the same size. Technically, we didn't need to crop these. We could have just done some fancy CSS, but I wanted a little bit more control, which is why I'm cropping them here. And also it means we're not wasting people's kind of internet connection, downloading things they don't need to download. Realistically, it's going to be a tiny sliver that they're actually going to need. So, cool. I'm going to go and save that as Dinos. You should always be careful when you're naming your files, make it so it's something easy to include in code. So let's do dino.png. There's no kind of capitals there, there's no spaces or like dots or anything, because that can make things pretty confusing. And so now, what I can do is I can say this h2 is going to have the class name of styles.melonHeader. And so now in my home.module.css, I can do .melonHeader. And this is controlling that specific one. So I can do, for example, font, weight, bold. And in theory, that will turn bold. But we can also do even better. And we can do background image. And this is a bit I can never remember quite what the syntax is. URL is equal to, I think if I do .melon.png will work, but I'm not sure. Let's find out. Oh, it didn't like that, did it? It really did not like that. What did I do wrong? Okay, I think maybe I need to actually do it properly. Give me a second. Let's see what happens because I think this CSS is going to get transpiled. So let's try doing /public/melon.png and save that. I suspected this might be a problem. It's not finding localhost/public/melon, which is unsurprising because it doesn't actually exist. This is one of the things that kind of annoys me about Next.js. There we go. Is the autocomplete says one thing, and then in reality you want to do something else. But that's fine. We got it done. And, I'm going to set this all up. So I'm going to do my, I'm actually going to say my content.h2 is going to have this rule. So content h2, and that's going to have font weight of bold. So they're both going to be bold. So this is going to control both of them. Whereas these are going to control individual ones. So for example, I'm going to do, melon header, I'm going to do .dino header. I'm going to go and set it to /dino.png. And then I can come into here and I can say, just like how I did this, a class name melon header, I can do class name dino header. And bazinga. Except I need to go and change it to dinos. But hey, these images are kind of cropped weirdly. They're not great. And we want to go and make this a bit more readable, a bit more usable, and all of that kind of stuff. So in this, which controls both of them, I'm going to say my color is going to be white. I'm going to add padding into it as well, just so we can get some more. I'm going to say my background position is going to be center. So we actually get something usable. I'm going to do my background size, is it? I think it's going to be cover. There we go. And then we can actually kind of see a bit more of it. And so we're going to have MELONS versus DINOS. I'm going to actually kind of center both of these as well. So I'm going to do like text align center. And I'm going to do like font size is equal to a little bit bigger than that, I think. Let's do 2.5 maybe. That's better. I like that. And so here we go. We've got these incredible columns. They'll turn into one like this. And now we can start deciding what is better, melons versus dinos. And, you know, let's get thinking. So in chat, let me know what you think the best thing about melons is and the best thing about dinos. We've got Jojo Hack saying, actually, melons are greater than dinos, but I'm not so sure. You know, melons and dinos are both pretty awesome. And I'm thinking we could do some interactivity here. You know, nothing hugely fancy. But while I'm getting your ideas in chat, I just want to prove my point of if I now push this and say, hey, basic layout, you're just going to push it up to Git, not playlist, basic layout. There's my brain going on autopilot. Stage these changes, commit them, and then push them. So this is adding them to GitHub. Then if I go and have a look inside Versal, then you'll see here, this is, oh, I've just been updated. And it's currently doing a deploy. So let's jump inside and it's saying, hey, this is deploying. And hey, I'm building what you just pushed. So I didn't need to tell it that, hey, I want you to push. It's actually smart enough to be like, oh, like this is something that's changed. I need to update this. And so right now, if I go on it, you know, it's not built yet, but this is upcoming. You know, we can view these build logs and we can say it's doing all of these things. And, oh, no, that's an older one. What's going on here? Why is this not deploying yet? Doesn't really take quite this long. There we go. And it has deployed. And so now if I refresh this, bazinga, you know, already on the internet, already pushed up. And that is pretty awesome. Makes things easy. Okay, so let's go and now add some info about melons and dinos. And I'm going to say for each thing, we're going to have a nice kind of custom little card, which says why that thing is amazing. And so we're going to do, well, what can we do? Well, we could go and, you know, do some custom CSS. And we could just do like div class equals blah, 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 blah. But I think we can go one step further and do something much better. And I think we can do a box that describes the benefit of each one. So what I'm thinking is, bear with and watch me. I'm going to say, let's go on dinos, because dinos are pretty awesome. And inside that, I'm going to do another row. And I'm going to do a column. And that column is going to be XS equals 4. I think. We'll see how that goes. And we'll do dot, dot, dot. And then this is going to be equal to 8. So we're going to have like an image next to it. Each one. Why is that not updating? Because that's the live one. We've got to go onto localhost 3000, don't we? And in here, I'm going to say, for example, benefit of dinos is there is an amazing Chrome dino game. You know, I personally think it should be about Blahaj, but it's not. So, you know, I've just got to cry a bit. And actually, if this layout isn't making sense, I'm going to say, hey, if I'm on anything a bit bigger, small, for example, I actually only want it to be 2 wide. And therefore, if I'm on small, I want this one to be 10 wide because we have to add up to a multiple of 12. And, you know, apparently, calling to Malak, you know, melons, you know, they have an empire and its own website. You know, that is true. So benefit of melons, you know, and in these dot dot dots, I'm going to put an image for each one, just so you know. So, you know, I can copy paste this and say melons are this. But that's a pain. You know, that's going to become really painful real quick. So let's turn these into their own components. So let's make a new folder and let's call it components. And inside this, I'm going to say new file, and it's going to be infocard.js, the capital I think. And I'm going to go and lay out this. So let's copy all of this over. We can get rid of this. We can get rid of these styles. We can export default info card, because it's going to be an info card now. And I want it to return just this row, where it's like, hey, this is going to go inside it, and it's just this row, which is a single fact. Make sense so far? And so what this is going to do is it's going to make it really, really easy for us to return one of these info cards, and we can just lay them out. And it's basically very, very similar to making your own, I guess, like HTML kind of big element, except, you know, these are interactive. You can actually run JavaScript in these as well, which is really cool. I'll be showing you in just a second about why that is amazing and is going to change your life. So now I've done this, what I can now do is I can come back into here and I can say, get rid of all of this, because that's going to get really confusing real fast. And I can say, oh, that's not indented properly, whoops. I can say info card, which, hey, I can just click this to import that. And I'm going to say text is going to be equal to, there is an amazing Chrome Dino game. And it actually can be self-closing. So that worked, amazing. But like, hey, what if I duplicate this and I change it to just be like, there is stuff? Well, we're not detecting what this text parameter or prop is. And so we need to go and do that now. So let's go back into info.card.js and we're going to say props into here. We're going to say it's going to take one thing, which is props. Then in here, instead of just putting this text, we can say in curly brackets, props.text. Save that. And now it will say whatever we put as the text parameter. Kind of cool, isn't it? Really, really quick. And yet we've already created something custom. And you know, Kevo is in chat. You know, this is Kevin from the gambling. We love Kevin. And Kevin is like saying, hey, you know, melons versus dinos. We know the real winner is Blahaj. Blahaj is in the background. I don't have a melon or a dino in the background, Kevin. I entirely agree. You know, I was about to say neither melons or dinos have teeth like that Blahaj's, but that's kind of not true. But you know, it's just kind of how it is. Sometimes, you know, it just be like that. And I was like, this is amazing. Why didn't you teach me this before? It's amazing, isn't it? And so now, you know, we can actually do CSS, which is contained within just this. And so let's go and do that now. So I'm going to do a new file. I'm going to call it infocard.module.css. And then I'm going to go and copy paste the code over from here because I can never remember how to do it. And we're going to say import styles from, but we don't want to import it from home. We want this to all be self-contained, so it's not going to kind of get all clashy and confusing. So we're going to do ./infocard.module.css. And so now what I can do is I can replace this with like a div, and I can do it as a div with a class name of equal to styles.card. And then, you know, just like Kevin answers all your shipping questions or answered all your shipping questions and sent you all of your amazing swag, I'm going to do the swaggiest thing ever, and I'm going to give it some custom CSS. So I'm going to do .card, and I can say, hey, just to prove this, I can say background color. And because these are both being rendered off the same template, it will change it for both of them. And I'm thinking, you know, let's head back onto flatUIcolors.com. Let's head back down to our nice Indian palette. I'm thinking, you know, melon should be in green, but dinos should be in orange. But like, wait, does that mean we have to create a separate info card for each of them? Maybe, maybe not. For now, let's just do the orange one and we'll come back to that because there's a way around that, which is really, really cool. And so we're going to say background color is this. And we're going to say, oh, whoops, it's not liking that. We're going to say background color is this. I'm going to give it some padding. Actually, no, it doesn't need, nah, probably. Padding of like 0.5 maybe. Yeah, that's enough. I'm going to give it a margin bottom. So like give it a gap of bottom of 1M as well. So, you know, it's not going to look quite as ugly. I'm going to give it a border radius for like 2 pixels. There you go, that looks a bit like cleaner. And I'm also, actually, this can probably just be 0.75. Let's have a look. Or even 0.5? Yeah, that works. And I'm going to give it a nice border as well. So let's go back onto Hex Color Tool. And let's go and darken it slightly. Probably like 2 up is probably all we need. Don't want it to be too much. So we can do border or 1px solid. Bazinga. Okay, amazing. So we now have these like basic layouts. We can say it is a Chrome Dino game. Now these dots are going to be pictures. But actually, let's do something better. Let's do emojis. I like emojis more. So let's go and make it take an emoji. And so to do that, I'm just going to do props.emoji. And actually, you know, if it's going to be like this, let's really simplify this. Let's just like make this 2. Let's make this and then 10. And so this can be like 1 and 11. I think it's probably going to be fine. And because then it's going to be basically like a bullet point is kind of my idea. And then I'm going to say the emoji. So props.emoji means we can come back to here And then as well as text, we can say text is this, and then its emoji can be, we'll put it in quotes because it's a string, which means text, because emojis, believe it or not, are not images, they are text. And I'm gonna say laptop, because, oh no, let's do game. There's a game controller, right? Yeah, there's a joystick. And so now if I hit save, that's appeared. And we can do cool stuff with this. So we can say, hey, this is stuff, we can do emoji. What else is amazing about dinos is we can say like, they are very old, almost as old as Ryan Swift. And we can put like an old man on there. So like, there we go, that looks like Ryan. And so I can save this and it works. But let's go into here and let's go into center these. Let's make them really nice. So I can come back in my info card and I can say, actually, I want this emoji, this column. I want to have an extra class and I want it to be called styles.emoji. And so inside info card module.cs, I can just do like .emoji and I can say text align center. And what am I doing wrong? I'm doing something wrong. What am I doing wrong here? Do I need to do display inline blocking? Maybe I do. Let's have a look. Sometimes it behaves a little bit weirdly. Centering. What am I doing wrong? What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to do inside this, I'm going to throw a div, I think, and that should probably fix it. Let's try doing div, bloop. It's kind of a hacky fix. You shouldn't really need to nest divs, but CSS is kind of a bit of a fickle beast. Sometimes you have to do strange things. Okay, that should work. Why isn't that working? Let me go and refresh this in case it's got stuck. Okay, it hasn't got stuck. Let's do inspect. So have a mess around with this. So, okay, that's what's going on. This column is actually way smaller than I thought it is. So that's fine. It is technically centered. And so we've got all of these. These are beautiful. These are amazing. We've got these bullet points. But hey, remember how I said I wanted to do melon ones? I wanted them to be in green. Well, if I copy this info card over, you know, what's good about melons? Jack is allergic to them, let's say. And that emoji can be like a, you know, a skull and crossbones. Then, hey, I would never disrespect Ryan Swift, right? This is me showing love to Ryan Swift. That's how I show love. Well, you know, I want it to be green, so how can I do that? Well, the cool thing is, we can actually kind of pass in different things. And so we can say, for example, let's say this type is equal melon. And we can add a nice little switch statement. So down here, I'm also going to say type is equal to dino. And this is a bit where I've got to remember how CSS works, and I'm never good at this bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to say, before we return, give me a second. Let's do React ternary statement. That's what we want to do. A ternary thing is kind of a bit ugly, but it's conditional rendering effectively. And I am never able to remember how to do it. Terminal. Yes, okay, here we go. So we're going to say, give me a second. How do you do this? Because in like normal React, it's pretty easy. In NextJS, it's slightly more complicated. I'm going to say, let's return, and I'm going to do, Okay, I've got an idea. Bear with, friends. I'm going to experiment live. I've never done it this way before, but it might work. So I'm going to say, I'm going to get rid of, we're going to leave this class name. I'm also going to do style equals. And then I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, hey, this is JavaScript coming up. Or this is JSX coming up. I'm going to say, I want to do if, how do I do this? If props.type is equal to melon, not that yet, and it's going to be a string of melon, then, so question mark, I want this to be background styles, oh, this is really difficult, this is like pressure, live coding, background color is going to be, if this works, I'm actually going to be really proud of myself. Background color is going to equal to this. And then if it's not, then background color is going to equal, because this is basically, you pass it as a JavaScript object effectively, it's going to be orange. I am not sure if this will work, but I actually think it might. Let's find out. So let's save that. Let's head back over. And that worked! Amazing! Okay? And because of the fact these are now different, you know, the border color is not going to work, so I'm going to do like 1A, 1A, 1A. And then, yeah, that works. So just to explain what I just did there, this is called a ternary statement. It is a really nice way of doing conditionals inside things. So you can actually pass like kind of JavaScript objects as styles in NextJS. That's basically what it does to your CSS, actually. It kind of does stuff to it. And this is basically saying, I want to use the styles as my, so the class is going to be styles.card, which is, you know, in our styles thing. But in addition to that, I want to set an extra style. And, you know, if the type that has been entered as a parameter is equal to melon, then, you know, I want it to be this background color. Otherwise, which is what this dot dot is equal to, I want it to be orange. And there we go. So there we go. We can have this like split. And you could definitely expand on this. You could do like a switch statement and all of that kind of stuff. But hey, this does the job quite fine. And so, did anyone have any other things about melons? You know, I'm going to say, you know, melons, for example, are great because they have a local hack day sub-guild thing named after them. And you know what, for that we can do like a trophy, because Blahaj Gang is gonna win local hack day, just saying. And you know, it will add it and all of that kind of stuff. We can add another one, you know, we can say another great thing about melons is that they are yeetful. If you have questions about what yeetful means, yes, correct. I'm gonna do ta-da. And then let's add one more dino fact. I can say the oldest dinosaur ever found was at least 7. And for that, I'm going to do the number 7. Boom. So we have some facts. Isn't that awesome? You know, we managed to go and create this and lay it out. And, you know, you might have thought, hey, you know, there's ways of optimizing this further. And there totally is. Now, the cool thing about these components is that if we were going to do a multiple page site here, we can use these components across multiple web pages. You know, we can import them anywhere. It is just JavaScript, which is really, really awesome. It just saves us a ton of time. But because NextJS is React, it gives us all the power of React. And so, you know, we can totally pull live data in here. We can do really, really cool things without much difficulty. You know, if you're doing things in vanilla JavaScript, for example, it can be a pain. Now, on this stream, I'm not going to go and like add tons of interactivity, but you could totally take this and make it so, for example, people can add things. And let me just show you what I mean by that. So I've got this dinos thing, and what if I want it so people can add their own? And this is where I'm going to regret saying this because I'm going to forget how to do it, but I'm going to try. I'm going to go and say, you know, up here, let's go and create a thing. I'm going to say const dino facts is equal to this list, and it's going to just be a list of these facts with an emoji. So I'm going to say dino facts is going to be equal to like, bear with friends, need to work out the best way of doing this. Yes, this will work, I think. Maybe. We'll find out. We'll find out. You know, sometimes things go wrong, and if they go wrong, what you do is you cry and then everything's okay. So I'm hoping this doesn't go wrong, but if it does, you know, I'm thinking I could store it in an object, basically just kind of get you in my head. But just storing it as an array is probably going to be less painful. Famous last words right there. But like, we'll see what happens. You know, we'll see. We'll see. And just to kind of explain what I'm doing here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of all of these, and I'm going to dynamically generate this. And then if I dynamically generate this, at least in theory, it's going to be possible for us to add a nice thing so people can add their own dino facts on. And you know, who doesn't want to have their own dino facts? You know, dinos are pretty great. If you can add dino facts to a world, then why wouldn't you? Okay, so let's go and get rid of all of this. Yes, yeah, let's yeet all of this. And, you know, I can't just copy this. I could technically, because that was React Adam, but I want to do this kind of in a different way. And so I'm going to map these. And so I can say down here, I'm going to say, hey, this is going to be some JavaScript coming up. I want to do dinofacts.map, and that is the probably most I can remember how to do. Let's have a look. React map. Do. And we're going to map. This is never fun on how to remember how to do this. I'm going to map, and it's going to be for like fact. And for each fact, what I want to do is, let's just try doing like test, just to see what happens if I do that. Why is this getting, okay, that's not run anymore. So if it says test 3 times, this means it's working. Yes, okay, that's working. So now, in theory, what I can do is I can say info card with text of, well, the text is going to be dinofact01. So it's going to be like fact 1, because it's the second in the array, and the emoji is the first in the array, so it's going to be 0, because we use base 0. So we can do fact 0, and they're all going to have the same type. They're all going to have the type of dino. And so in theory, bazinga, this is now dynamic. So we don't have to worry about creating all of these manually. So let's go and add a second constant, and let's do const of melon facts. And we're going to do the exact same thing. You know, we're going to go and get a list. Just copy paste this in, and we'll add all of these in. And then the reason we're doing this, and the reason this is pretty great, is that it means, you know, if these are stored as data that we then render, rather than just being, you know, just random bits of text that happen to be contained within components on our page, it means we can be like pretty programmatic with it. It means we can kind of like do things with that. And because Next.js is based on React, we have all the power of React to do things. And so rather than it just being like, bleh, you know, it's not working, we can instead of like, you know, it just being the biggest pain in the world and just having to do everything manually, we can go and make it so, hey, if you add something to it, if you add an incredible melon fact, then it will appear. So let's do the exact same thing. We're going to do, hey, this is just some JavaScript coming. We're going to say melon facts. And we want to map. And for each fact, map is basically a fancy loop if you've not seen them before. For each fact, I want to render an info card. With the text. Well, I can just copy this, can't I? But instead of it being a, whoops, I need to go and add a closing bracket there again. But then, you know, it's a bit different because it's going to be melon, not dino. And so this is pretty awesome. We've got our facts again, but we want to be able to add a thing. So let's go and add a form to the bottom of this page to say, hey, melons versus dinos, which do you vote for and why do you think it's the best, right? That's what I'm thinking. It's going to be like a vote system. And whichever gets the most facts is considered the winner. Okay? So rather than being like adding this form first, let's work out the logic behind this. I want whichever has the most in each of these lists, whichever is the longest, I want it to be declared the winner. And so let me go and do another component, and it's going to be our winner component. And so I'm thinking we can go and put this above all of this, but inside this article, inside this container, so it's all inline. And I'm going to say winner. But wait, hang on, I need to make the component first before I can use it, right? So let's do a new component. I'm going to call it winner.js. I'm going to copy paste all of the info card over just because it makes life easier. It's going to have some custom JavaScript, some custom CSS. So we're going to need to do this new winner.module.css file. We need to update winner.css to use this as well. And this is going to be really simple. And we're going to reuse this logic actually. You know, if melon is winning, then we want it to be this, otherwise this. So we're going to say props.winner. If the winner is melon, make it green, otherwise make it orange. And this class is going to be, well, we can probably reuse this card, can't we? And inside this for now, I'm just going to say props.type is the winner. Obviously that's not going to look great, but like that's fine. We can make it look fine. So we can do winner. And my autocomplete is not picking up that I created that file, which is incredibly irritating. Let's just give it another go. Winner. No, okay, that's fine. I'll just slowly cry inside. We'll say winner, and the winner of our winner is going to be Dino for this example. Winner is not defined though, because we haven't imported it. So let's just duplicate this, and we're going to say winner. We're going to say the component is going to be winner as well. MLH, you're a winner to me, and this is now working, so something is the winner. Something's working, but it's not looking great, and it looks like I put that in the wrong place. Let's put it outside this container, I guess. Oof, that's ugly. Okay, let's put it back inside the container. And what we're going to do is we're going to say winner.js. Well, hang on, what's going on here? Props.type, well, it's actually props.winner, isn't it? So Dino is the winner. Cool, that's what I set it to. Let's go and edit this thing. So, you know, winner.module.js. How is that? Okay, that's format. That makes sense. So we're going to do .card, because that's what it's called. We're going to give it some padding. And, you know, actually, this is important enough that I think it can be like a H2. You know, we want our winner to be very, very obvious. And so, you know, let's make it really, really obvious. But let's go and get some of this padding down a bit. That's way too much padding. In fact, interesting, that padding is going way overboard, but whatever, that kind of looks okay. I'm going to say my margin bottom can be like 1em, just to give it a little bit of a gap. Let's go and give it some like border radius. You know, we can do all the things with CSS in there. Border radius of 2 pixels, for example. And we'll go and put a nice emoji on each side. Now, if you're ever doing real web dev and, you know, you actually want it to be compatible across every single device, you probably should use a library to actually kind of handle emojis rather than just using them directly in your code. Obviously, this is just a quick demo app, so it's fine for us to do this. And just doing Dino in like lowercase is ugly. And so let's do props.winner.upper, I think it is. No, that's, is that Java? No, I'm fairly sure that's Python. So, JavaScript string to uppercase. And is it uppercase is what I want? Or is that going to all caps it? That's going to all caps it. JavaScript string to title case is what I want, I think. Ew. Okay. Rather than doing this way, because that's ugly, let's use CSS because that's easier. So let's do span. And we're going to do span class name equals styles.winner. This is kind of hacky. A span means it's not going to go onto any line. And since we're using a span, what we can do is we can say, hey, this props.winner. Why is that not liking that? Interesting. Cool. We're going to say .winner is going to be, well, let's give it a Google. CSS to uppercase, first letter. And we want to do text transform. And we want to do text transform capitalize. Okay, so let's do winner text transform capitalize, spelled American. And so this hasn't actually modified this. It's just, you know, in the code it's still in lowercase, but it means that, you know, it's being displayed a bit nicer, it looks less ugly and all that kind of stuff. And the cool thing is, you know, this will change color. So if the winner is melons, then it will turn green, right? So it'll change the color to the one that is our current winner, which is awesome. But the cool thing is, rather than just being winner equals one we set, we can do logic in here. So we can do, well, we need to work out how to like work out a draw in a second. But for now, let's make one longer than the other. So let's add this fact on twice. So Dino is currently the winner. Oof, that didn't work. What did I do wrong? Oh, that's why. So hang on, let me just set this to Dino so I can kind of get this preview back up. Yes, cool. So Dino facts is now 4 long, Melons is 3 long. And because there's more facts about Dinos is going to be the winner. And so let's go and do winner equals, well, I need to compare the length of 2 arrays. So JavaScript compare length of 2 arrays. I need to get the longest. So I can say, hey, here we go. Array.1.length. Okay, so we can say, hey, well, we could do an if statement outside and then do it, or we can just use these ternary statements we learned about earlier. So let's do DINOFACTS. If DINOFACTS dot length is greater than MELONFACTS dot length. So if there is more DINOFACTS than MELONFACTS, if that is the case, the winner is going to be Dino. Otherwise, the winner is Melon. You might notice the problem here, because that's not necessarily going to be true. Because Dino is now the winner. You know, if I go and add 2 more facts to MELONFACTS, so I'm going to do here, then you'll see it's going to switch over automatically. Amazing. But what if they both have the same? Then if it's both the same, Melon's going to be declared the winner. Well, we need to add a thing where it's like draw. So, how can we handle that logic? Because right now, someone has to win. So if it's not, we can nest these. So if not, we're going to say, if not, if DINOFACTS.length is equal to MELONFACTS.length, it's going to equal, well, if it's equal to the same, then it's going to be draw. Otherwise, it is Melon. So we can nest these. That's the cool thing about these kind of statements, which is really, really awesome. I'm saying Melon should always be the default winner. I don't agree. So now saying draw is the winner, but it's still in Dino color. So we need to handle this inside our actual winner as well. And so we can say, you know, if it's a draw, well, actually, if it's a draw, let's return something different. So let's say, how should we do this? So if props.winner is equal to draw, then I'm actually going to return an entirely different thing. So let's say if that, then return it's a draw. We'll come back and like make that nicer, but like that'll do for now. And then if it's not, well, if we get to this point, we can presume it's not a draw, and so we can then return something. So if it's a draw, for now it's just going to return it's a draw. Otherwise, you know, if it's not a draw, it's going to declare our winner, which is really, really cool. And see, that was pretty easy to do. And remember, this is all responsive. You know, this will work on mobile as well, which is kind of cool. So we've got that logic done, but we need to make it so we're designing a thing for the draws. So let's go and add in that extra fact again. And we're going to say if it's a draw, well, I want to use this styles.card because that is useful. So we're going to say, hey, I'm going to, again, do a H saying it's a draw. Which, you know, that doesn't really work. We'll get to that in a second. I'm going to put a P. I'm going to say vote for your favorite below. Favorite, of course, spelled the English way. Okay, so I can go back to my styles.card, but if I edit this, it's going to edit it for everything. But that's actually okay, because our inline CSS will actually override it. So let's have by default, let's have it be purple. And let's just say background color is going to just equal this. It would have been really nice if that worked, wouldn't it? That would have been really nice. Why is that not working? Div class name styles.card. That should work. I'm fairly sure that should work. Let's investigate what's going on. Let's go and look at the CSS being outputted. What is this overloading? Invalid property value. Oh, I put it in quotes, that's why. This is CSS, not JavaScript. Yeah, we don't use speech marks, do we? And so we can do that, and we can say, actually, if there is a paragraph inside a card, then I want this to be aligned in the center. So I can say text align. Center, I want it to be white as well. I probably want it to have a margin top of -1em, or probably quite a lot more than that. 3, maybe. And you probably want it to be a bit bigger, actually. So let's say font size is going to be equal to 2, maybe? No, that's way too big. Like 1.5. But then, because of, you know, the way this works, it means, you know, that margin is now too big. It's going to do this. And we're also going to say, like, our font style is going to be italic. And we just give it a bit more margin bottom. So its margin bottom can be 2M. Oof, that's ugly. Let's do padding bottom instead, actually. It's probably more sensible. Yeah. And actually, probably 1.5 is fine here. Cool. So it's going to say, hey, it's a draw. Vote for your favorite below. If it's the same. If it's not the same, then it's going to declare the winner. So, for example, Melon is the winner. Or Dino is the winner. Okay, so we have that logic in play. Well done to us. We're amazing. But we now need to make it so we can actually, add our facts. So, we've got all of this, but let's go and add in a thing below. And on our index.js, we need to go and add a separate container. And we're going to go and say, well, let's see what happens. What happens if I do another container? Well, it's just going to be a boring empty container. We want it to have all of our content classes as well to make it look nice. And, because of the way this is working, we're going to need to go and add some, padding as well, or some margin on the bottom. So let's go back into, well, it would be my home.module.css folder. And I can say my content is going to have a margin bottom of 2em. And so that way there's going to be a nice gap like this. Do I want 2? Do I want 1? Not sure. 1's probably enough, isn't it? And, so you can keep up, I'm going to go and throw this onto GitHub now. So, remember, this pushes live. I do have a little kind of thing on Imgur, which is called ImageBot, which will automatically optimize things. So I'm just going to pull this down real quick. And then I'm going to go and do, I'm going to say, added winner system. Going to stage these changes, going to push them all. And so again, in the next 2 or 3 minutes, the live version on the website will update, which is exactly what we want, Blahaj, isn't it? We want our live website to just reflect everything we're doing locally. Makes it way easier to test. Okay, so this is working. And, this is looking pretty good, right? We just need a way of adding a fact. Well, first of all, before we go and actually build the form, let's work out, a little bit of how this logic's going to work. So I need to Google React use state. And we want to use state because state is amazing. State effectively is what lets us update in real time, I guess is the way of describing it. And so if we're using state, it means that anything that changes in an array or in an object or whatever, or even just a string, an integer, it will update in real time. And so I want these to be stored in state. So if these change, it will automatically, on our webpage, re-render anything that used these. And the big benefit of that is it means that we don't have to worry about checking if it changes, refreshing, like we would have to do in vanilla JavaScript. One of the really, really cool things about React, and therefore also NextJS, because it's built on React, is it gives us these really useful quality of life features. So I'm going to say DINOFacts, and I'm going to say const DINOFacts set DINOFacts is equal to use state all of this. Right, this is a little bit different. We might not have seen this before. What's going on here? This is strange, right? It is strange. It is. So what actually does this mean? And why is that? There we go. That's better. So what is going on here? Well, effectively what we're doing is we're saying, hey, these are our defaults in our state. And we're saying, hey, we're going to store these in DINOFacts. We're going to use set DINOFacts to update. We're not going to update DINOFacts manually, otherwise it will break our state. And this is stored and will be watched in real time. So if this changes, we'll trigger a reload effectively. But we'll only reload things where it makes sense. So let's say do melonfacts. We're going to do set melonfacts. I'm going to use state. I'm going to do this. Okay, so at least in theory, if I go back onto this, absolutely nothing should have changed except the fact I forgot to import use state. So let's go and fix that right now. Let's go and import it from React. There we go. It's cool. This is all working as it was before. And just as a way of experimenting, Let me go and add a thing down here, and it's just going to be a button, and it's going to be set melon state, just as a way of testing this. You know, obviously this isn't going to be what it actually looks like. That would be really ugly. And I'm going to say on click, well, you know, we can use this set melon facts. So I'm going to use set melon facts. And when I click this, I want to set melon facts to equal, well, going to just be equal to a single fact. It's going to be, have the emoji of, let's do a poo emoji, for example, and say just melons suck. Okay, so now, ooh, that's not fun. What did I do wrong there? Oh, a big gotcha is in React, you can't, in JSX even, you can't just do on click and use the thing with a parameter inside of it. It doesn't like that. You have to basically do a arrow function. So you're going to do on click, do this, and that goes in here. I'm fairly sure that's the right syntax. Even after using it this many times, I am not 100% sure, but we're gonna find out. Didn't crash that time. Cool. So see this? What this is doing is it's literally changing this array. So if I click set on a state, then, you know, it sets this and makes them suck. And just to kind of show you inside this, I have the React DevTools installed. So I can go and click on this home. And so this is my state here. These are the facts. It's going to be a little bit small on your screen probably, but I'll zoom in as much as I can. And you'll see when I click this, it's not just changing what's on the page. It's actually changing the data itself. It's a little bit laggy, but that's fine. It's changing the data itself, which is really, really cool because it means things work. Adam, if yours are breaking, make sure you're using an arrow function here because that's probably what's got you. Very often, you know, it's a little bit finicky. But obviously, you know, our behavior, we don't want it to reset it. We don't want it to set it to just that. You know, let me just go and get rid of this actually real quick. Let's make it so there are just you know, the actual unique facts. Because we don't want there to be a thing where, you know, we submit it and it entirely overrides everything we had. There it is. We want it to, instead of that, just go and add the fact onto the bottom. Well, how could we do that? Well, I'm thinking the easiest way we're going to be doing that is to do melon facts dot append. I think it's dot append. I'm 95% sure it's dot append. No. Append to append to array JavaScript. How do I do that? Dot push, that's it. Sorry. I do Python all the time nowadays. I'm just like, I cannot keep track of the differences. Well, that's definitely not what we were hoping to happen. Interesting. I wonder what's going on here. This doesn't seem to be working quite properly. If I inspect this and I go back into my components and I go into my, where is it? Home? Well, this is melon. If I do set melon state, what's it doing here? Oh, it's literally just setting it to be an empty one. That's weird. What could be going on here? Well, let's go and kind of slightly kind of bring this into its own function so we can actually see it a bit better. Let's say a function, add fact, and it's going to be type fact emoji. I'm just going to return true for now. Not going to actually do anything. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use this function down here. So we're going to say on click, add fact, and actually I want to go and copy that entire thing. Cool. I want to add fact, and I want to do, well, I want a type, but it's going to be a melon type. I'm going to do a fact, so they suck. I'm going to do an emoji. I'm going to do a poop emoji. Cool. So now, you know, this isn't actually going to do anything, but anything we do in here is going to kind of, you know, it's going to run this code. So for example, I can do alert, it worked. And so now, if I do set melon state, it's going to say it worked, which obviously it didn't yet, because we've not coded it yet, but it will do. And so now when I do this, I want to do, well, you know, inside this little work, because I can say, hey, I want to actually do this emoji. And I want to do the fact time provided. And, you know, this will then, oops, interesting. It will then theoretically override it. But of course it's not right now, is it? You know, if I do set melon facts equal to just this, then I'm fairly sure that will work. Yeah, you know, that will work. That will set it, but I want to append it to them. So, well, the easiest way to do this is probably to create a temporary variable. So we're going to do const melon facts is equal to, oops, okay. So let's just store it here. Temp facts is equal to melon facts, temp facts dot push, and I want to add this new one, so emoji fact, and then what I want to do is I want to console.table my temp facts before I do anything with this, because I want to see what's in it, and then I want to do set melon facts to temp facts, and I'm fairly sure this will work, but I'm actually like not 100% positive. And so let's try running this. Set melon state. Well, ooh, interesting. Got this array, and this is seemingly pushing it, but this isn't working. Because like down here, you know, this temp facts is definitely updating, but something's not quite working as intended, is it? Let's go take a look at the components and let's see what's going on here. If I go into home, well, something's definitely going on. Something's definitely happening, and this is updating, but I don't think it's updating for the reason we want it to. What happens if I comment out this? What happens in that case? Interesting. It updated. I wonder what's going on here. I'm actually not sure, if I'm entirely honest. I think comment's behaving weirdly there, so let me just kind of... Something's going and behaving weirdly. I wonder what's going on here. I'm actually not sure why that's not working. I want to go, oh, hang on. I think I probably need to do use effect. So use effect in React is a way of saying, hey, after render, I need to do something. So I'm fairly sure if I put this into a use effect, it will work. But I'm honestly, like, I want to be like transparent with you, right? When you're coding stuff and you're trying to do stuff in real time, sometimes you're not quite sure what's going on. And so, you know, I'm not quite sure. You know, I'm a developer. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know why this is working. And that's like a fine experience to have. You know, it's actually fine to not know exactly what you're doing every single moment of every single day when you're developing things. You know, sometimes it can be like, hey, this is behaving weirdly. And you're going to be like, well, why is it behaving weirdly? You're going to be like, I actually have no idea. Well, add fact isn't defined. Interesting. Well, of course it's not, because it's nested. Well, is all I can say. Because this is very strange, isn't it? It's working when we override it and just set it to, you know, if I kind of do all of this, but then I set melon facts just equal this, it's behaving as intended, I think. Let's have a go. Well, that is behaving as intended. That's what we want to happen. But when we try to set it to this temp facts thing, it's not working. Do I need to put it in square brackets, perhaps? Maybe that's the issue. Ooh. Interesting. Well, that means these are all being stored in a single one, I think. And that's not really what I want either. I want them to all be stored in separate kind of parts of our list or our array. But let's check. It's gone home. And okay, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. You know, it's kind of nesting them and nesting them and nesting them into one of these. So I think temp facts itself is probably fine. But what I want to do is I'm going to console.log temp facts, and I'm also going to console.log melon facts, and I am going to compare the two. because, you know, as a developer, I need to debug and I need to see what's going on here and why it's not working. You know, sometimes it just breaks. Oh, Mara is in chat. Mara says, hello. Hello, Mara. How are you doing? I'm currently crying because my code's not working. But let's go into home and let's try this. Let's do sat1 state. Is anything changing right here? Nothing's changing right now. But remember, I did these logs so I can compare it. And if I compare these two, interestingness, isn't it? You notice that they're both the same, except I haven't updated melon facts yet. So in JavaScript and many programming languages, there's a JavaScript deep copy versus shallow copy. And I think we're using the wrong type of copy here. I think we're doing a shallow copy where we actually need a deep copy. So basically, we're just referencing melon facts and we're updating it live in real time. Remember earlier I mentioned that will break things? We don't want to do that. So instead, what we want to do probably is say this is actually equal to ... melon facts. And we're going to say, hey, make an actual full copy of this. That is not the right syntax, I don't think. Is it not? I thought that was the right syntax, actually. This is NextJS, Mara, which is basically React with some bells and whistles. I'm fairly sure that should work, actually. Why is that not working? JavaScript spread. What am I doing wrong? I'm doing something wrong here. Oh, what if I do this? Yeah, I think I need to do this. So we're going to make a proper copy using the spread operator. And, okay, so this is now. There we go. So what we were doing wrong is in JavaScript, you should make sure, you know, you are using the right copy. In React, as I mentioned earlier, just to recap, you can't just go and add things on. You know, you can't just go and edit things stored in state directly. You have to use this like function you create when you're setting up state. And so here we go. That was the issue. And so that was some live debugging. You know, you saw me in real time debug there. And, you know, that's what you should be doing as a developer. You should be thinking, what's breaking here? Why isn't this working? And why are things confusing? But yes, thank you, Kevin, for coming along. Didn't even realize you were sticking around. You're the best. Have a great one. Yeah, Mara's like, live debugging is a valuable experience. It is. Like, honestly, if you ever want to kind of get really good at debugging things, run workshops or streams because things will break and you just have to kind of get used to debugging live on stream. So I'm going to say, hey, you know, I can now add this logic so I can add melon facts and dino facts. And I can say if type equals, or if type is equal to melon. We're going to just presume melons and dinos are the only ones that exist here, just for ease. We're going to say, hey, content facts equals this. Else, it's going to be not be melon facts, but rather it's going to be dino facts. And we're going to push it on, and then we're going to set dino facts equals to this. Bazinga. So, well, I need to make sure I'm passing in my type while I'm passing in melon. So this should be working fine. You know, in chat, we've got the most important questions. You know, has Mara had any nice milk today? But no, but she has got a rotisserie chicken from Costco, which is pretty awesome. I had a pizza for tea because I am a mature, definitely not child who eats pizza way too often because it is only $8 and available very nearby. Okay, so this works. That's awesome. Before we continue, I'm going to run to the fridge behind me and get some more Pepsi because my throat hurts. So give me 30 seconds, friends. I'll be over in a second. No, I'm not standing up. That would be effort. Nearly died. Sorry about that. Let's grab this. Pizza is amazing. I love pizza. We got 20 minutes left until we drop off there. So now we have this. Let's go down another bit and see if it works. I don't know why I had the earphones in. The music's broken. There's no point me having them in. So this is going to be dino, and we're going to say, hey, dinos can suck too. So if I do set dino state, they suck. They suck. Cool. So do you see what we've got? We've got the ability to add melons and dinos. Isn't that amazing? Mara's like, hey, we should bring back baking streams. Well, actually, if you want baking streams, for Local Hack Day Chef, Lahaj Gang is maybe going to run a baking stream. It's going to be pretty amazing. And so just saying. So there we go. We've got some logic so we can add facts to each one. I'm going to push them to GitHub now for you. So added ability, but we actually going to need a form where we can type in a fact as well, aren't we? Remember, this is being deployed live to Versal, and if you are wanting to go and see it in real time, you can go to the link I'm putting in chat right now. If you are currently watching live and you are kind of confused, remember, if you're watching on YouTube, you can scrub back to where I was earlier. Otherwise, this will be available as a, board on Twitch straight after this, so do not worry. Okay, so the last thing I need to do is add a box where I can go and save things as facts. And so I'm going to just do a really boring input, but wait, this is based on React, so I can't just make an input. It's a little bit harder, isn't it? So let's just Google React input state, because I want to store the contents in my state. And let's have a look at how to do this. So I should be using set states, and I don't want to do it on submit, I want to do it on edit. Input state on edit. Lots of code here. That's too much for me to read. No thanks. This is more what I want. And I want to do controlled components. And this is horrible JavaScript. And this is horrible kind of class-based React. Have a great one, Mara. This is like boring React. We don't like this React. We use functional React now because we don't hate ourselves. But what we can get from this is the way this works. So we store the value in this .state value, and on change we handle change. So let's do this input. It's going to go and put it down here. And this input is going to be text. This handle change, well, handle change is going to be this. And you're going to have to refactor this slightly, but that's fine. We're going to say function handle change. And then we're going to just do, we need to create my state first, but that's fine. In fact, let's do that now. So let's do const current fact set current fact equal to use state, and I just want it to be equal to an empty box at first, and then we're going to say current fact is going to be equal to event.target.value. I'm fairly sure this should work. We're going to use set current fact, don't we know? Because we're going to be setting it. Got our getters and our setters, because that's how this kind of works. And we've got to also make sure we're using the right caps, otherwise it's not going to work. It conveniently grays out if we're doing it wrong. And then we can come down here and we can say handle change. And the value is going to be equal to current fact. So let's see if this is going to work. We've got this very ugly looking box right here, but if we go into it on our components, then at least in theory, this state should update as we type into here. So let's start typing. And it does update. Amazing. So anything stored in here is stored in our state. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say add fact. And I wanted to add melon or dino. For now, we're just going to set it to the poop emoji. That's fine. I'm just going to say current fact and current fact. So now, with such little code change, I know it's ugly still, but I can say they are lit, and I can add it to melons, and it will add it, see? And I can say for dinos, they are okay, I quite like them. Set that to dinos, and see, we can add it again. And I'm thinking, when we add fact, we should also clear this so that we're not accidentally submitting twice. So we're going to do this, then we're going to do set current fact to equal just an empty string. So now, if I do this, I'm going to say they are amazing, add it to dinos, then it's going to add it, and it's going to clear it. So Adam's like, this is amazing. Isn't it amazing? Right? This is why I love using React and NextJS. It gets all of the annoying things to do in vanilla JavaScript, just gets it out the way. So, we've got that working. That is awesome. We just now need to make this look nice, and we can kind of leave it there today. There's going to be homework if you want to do it, though, don't worry. So let's go and add some CSS to down here, and a little bit of styling as well. We're going to say h2 add a fact. And then we're going to go, ooh, okay, that's ugly. Let's do a h3 instead. Not best practices, but it works. And we're going to say add a fact. And you're going to put your fact into here. So it's going to have a class name as input. It's going to be equal to styles.form. And we're going to say, let's do that right now, actually. But actually, we can even bring this into a kind of little, like nice little grid. Let's do a row. And it's going to have a column. And this column is going to be XS equals 12. But actually on medium screens, it's going to be equal to MD equals to, let's try 8. That might not be enough. We'll find out. And then here, it's going to go this. It's going to go and yeet all of that space we don't need in our life. Then underneath, we're going to do this. And we're going to say 6 and 2. I'm going to go and add this button here. Obviously, we'll make it all look nicer and not use these default buttons because they're ugly. Don't worry, I'm not going to do that to you. But for now, I'm just trying to get that basic layout done. And under here, we can do Dino. We can say set Dino state. Cool. So here is our very basic form. Let's go and add some CSS to it to be less terrible. So we're going to go into, where is it? We're going to go to home.module.css. I'm going to add one to .form. And we're going to say width is going to be equal to 100%. It's going to fill its kind of parent. Let's say its font size. Let's make it a little bit bigger. We're going to give it a border radius of 2em. Ooh, not 2em, sorry, 2 pixels. There we go. It's not perfect, but it's better than nothing. Let's say its border is going to be 1px solid 2a. Helps if you spell solid correctly, doesn't it? There we go. And it's padding. You just edit these like you would with anything else, really. Don't have to be super fancy. And then, we can have this. We can add our fact. We're going to add, what's the best way I want to do this? We can do buttons. We can do links. I'm trying to remember how difficult it is to style buttons. Let's find out. Let's go into here. So these are literally just buttons, right? Yeah. But I need to give them, because of how React or NextJS handles this, I need to give it a class name. So let's do class name is equal to styles.button. And I'm not 100% sure how this works, but I'm pretty sure that will work. So let's do .button, and let's do, say, border radius 2em. And then let me just pop this all the way to the other side. Let's put this over here. Cool. So these can be styled just like normal. So that's awesome. So we're going to do 1em. Or no, 2 pixels. That's what I wanted to do. 2 pixels. And because now know this works, I'm going to add that class onto the other one so we can modify them both at the same time. Because just like I like to hook both of my blahajs at the same time, sometimes you need to go and edit multiple CSS classes at the same time. Bazinga. Oh my god, hello Blahaj gang friends. Pog to you too. And then we can go and just do this last bit of cleanup here. So we're going to say home.module.css. We're going to say width is equal to 100%. So they should fill their parents. We're going to say their font size is going to equal to 1.1em. Why did that not work? Oh, I forgot a semicolon. And we're going to set the padding to be equal to 0.5em. So in theory that would work, but it didn't in practice because we need to do border, give it the same border. 2a. And then, for the sake of giving it an okay, that was weird. Not quite sure why it's doing like that, but that's fine. And then we'll give it a nice color. Let's say our submit color is going to be this beautiful fuchsia or whatever. I don't know how you pronounce that. Fuchsia, I think it is, isn't it? And then we're going to go and say background color is equal to that. And the color is going to be equal to white. And the font weight, so many rules, is going to be equal to bold. And so then we're going to change this because we want it to be user friendly. Instead of it being all about this state thing, we're going to say add to melon, and add to dinos. And there we go. We now have built, in a space of under 2 hours, a web app where, you know, it's got this voting system. It decides our winner, so I can add a fact and I can say, you know, Ryan Swift doesn't like them. And that's definitely going to be a add to melons fact. And then melons is declared the winner. And I can say they are lit, add that to dinos. I can say, well, that's a draw now. And I can say, actually, I think they're the best. And I'm going to add that to dinos. And then Dino is now the winner. So I'm going to push all my changes to GitHub. And I'm going to leave it there. But hey, there is one more thing that I've not done on this app and that I think you should do on it. And I'm going to explain that as soon as I can find where on earth my GitKraken's gone. Where is it? There it is. So finished app from livestream. I'm going to push this up. And the final thing that your challenge is going to be to do, if you choose to accept it, is to get my code or get what you've done and make it so you can also set a custom emoji. I promise it's not too difficult, but you know, you want to have a go at doing it, don't you? And so you definitely should see if you can make it so, rather than it just using the poop emoji every time, it uses an emoji of your choice. Now we're done. There's one more thing we've got to do. And that is, of course, submit to Discord. Not Discord, DevPost even. I'm going to throw the link to the repo I've been working on this workshop or this live stream into chat, so you can go and check it out. I'm also going to throw a link to the version of I've been deploying into chat as well, so you can have a play around with it. This is on Twitch chat. If you're watching this back on YouTube or on a VOD elsewhere, you'll need to be watching on Twitch to see it. Sorry about that. And there is one final thing we need to do, and that is to go onto Discord and to grab the link where we can go and submit. So if you head into the MLH community Discord, which has taken a little while to load for me, you can see this thing at the top where it says MLH March Challenges announcements. If you click into that, scroll up because I forgot to include it. I'm going to steal it from canals. In fact, let's go in there. Let's just do some copy pasta right here just to make it so it looks like I remembered to include it. Whoops. Depot submissions. So, nope, that's not even the right link. That isn't even the right link. Wow. I select the link and then forget to copy it. It's one of those days. You know, you can't even have everything go right sometimes. Today's one of those times. There we go. Let's go bloop this right in. Cool. So we're going to head over to this dev post thing that is right in Discord. You want to click this challenges submissions. It's going to take you to a beautiful page that looks something like this. I'm already logged into DevPost. If you're not, don't worry. Now, I've already submitted to one of the challenges, so I've got this Manage Projects button. But you should just see if you've not submitted to one, a green Create Project button. I've got this little grey one because I've done one. I'm going to say Melons versus Dinos website. I'm going to say I made this on an MLH stream. Isn't it beautiful? I'm going to save and continue. You've got to do a write-up. My inspiration is Ryan Swift's love for melons after he refused to thank Blahaj. That's going to be my inspiration. What it does is it lets you decide, or lets you vote on whether melons or dinos are the best based on facts. How we built it: NextJS, love, sweat, and tears. Challenge we ran into. Debugging live on stream is definitely a challenge. Accomplishments I'm proud of is definitely it works. What we learned, lots. What's next? Adam will do something weird with it. And I did this using, in the build with NextJS. And, considering we do have a working demo, we'll go and throw that link in here. Throw this try it out in. Save and continue. We're going to say, hey, we're uploading for March 22nd, because today, believe it or not, is March 22nd. We're very far through March. I accept the terms and conditions. I'm submitted. And there we go. That is me submitted to MLH March Challenges. So, that is all for today's March Challenge. I hope you really enjoyed the stream. Sorry about the lack of music and all the fun tech difficulties at the start, but I hope you've had a really, really good time. Remember, if you're enjoying stuff like this, we have MLH March Challenges. The link's at the bottom of your screen, hackp.ac/March Challenges. And they are happening every single day in March. And if you want even more, Local Hack Day is available at lhd.mlh.io. You can find tons about it. Local Hack Day Share is really coming up. You can join a guild. I'm guild leader of Lahaj Gang. I'm slightly biased. I think it's the best guild. So does he, believe it or not. But you can join any guild you want. We've got loads of live streams just like this. You can see it on here. Awesome mini events and even more. So if that sounds interesting, check out localhackday.mlh.io. Or if you don't want to type that entire thing, lhd.mlh.io. And I'll be running a ton of really, really cool stuff there as well. So I really can't wait to see you. For example, at 6 p.m. Eastern on March 29th, Monday, I'll be creating a web application which does scraping to help communities. I'm also going to be doing, what else am I doing? I'm doing Share Party. We'll be finding out what that is at some point in the near future. I'm going to be doing, something that isn't on a schedule yet. We're not going to reveal that yet. But I'm going to be running mini events and all that kind of stuff too. And there's another stream I'm doing as well. But that is all for today. So I'm going to leave it here. I really, really hope you enjoyed this stream. I had an absolute blast. Thank you for being the best audience, as per usual. And I hope you learned something new. So I'll see you on the MLH Discord. Have a great rest of your day. Remember, if you're coding on live and you got a bit stuck, don't worry. This is going to be on YouTube and Twitch VODs directly after this stream. And I'm about to hit stop, so it should be up in the next couple of minutes. So have a great rest of your day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, and all hail Lahaj. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.